From smiling in Milan to a chewing gum ban in Singapore, high heel restrictions in Greece, tree climbing bans in Canada, and mandatory dog walking in Italy, these laws are not your everyday regulations. 1. It's illegal not to smile in Milan. Yes, it's called the Happy Law, requiring everyone to smile in public places. This law has existed since the 19th century when Milan was under the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Back then, the goal was to create a cheerful atmosphere in the city. Luigi Fabio, a historical figure, suggested the law to make sure everyone was spreading good vibes. Even though it's not enforced today, it's technically still in place. You don't have to worry about getting arrested if you forget to smile. Still, if someone reports you, you could face a fine of around €100 or be asked to do community service. It's strange to think that such a law exists, but it does reflect how people in the past valued happiness and a positive public mood. Although Milan's residents aren't forced to smile anymore, the city remains lively and welcoming, just as the law intended. Now, let's hop over to Singapore, where something as small as chewing gum can land you in trouble. 2. Anti-chewing gum regulation in Singapore. If you love chewing gum, Singapore might be a different place. In 1995, Singapore put a strict ban on chewing gum. Why? It was all about keeping the city clean. The gum was becoming a huge problem, with people sticking it on public transport, sidewalks, and other public spaces. Cleaning it up was expensive and time-consuming, so the government banned it altogether. The law specifically targets the sale and import of chewing gum, except for therapeutic reasons like nicotine gum, to help people stop smoking. This law applies to locals and visitors, so if you're heading to Singapore, bring your own gum or prepare to do without it. If caught breaking this law, you could be fined up to 1,000 Singaporean dollars for the first offence. And if you're a repeat offender, the fines can go up to $200,000 or even include jail time. Singapore's approach to cleanliness is taken very seriously, and this gum ban helps keep the city one of the cleanest in the world. It's a pretty extreme measure for a small problem, but it works. Speaking of strict rules, let's check out Greece, where your choice of footwear can be a problem. 3. No high heels in Greece's historic sites. Planning a trip to Greece? Make sure you leave your high heels behind. Since 2009, Greece has banned wearing high heels at its famous ancient monuments, including the Parthenon and the Acropolis. Why? It turns out that high heels can cause damage to the ancient stones. The sharp soles can scratch and wear down the surfaces over time, and with thousands of tourists visiting every year, that damage can add up. The ban on heels was introduced to help preserve these historic sites for future generations. Eleni Korka, a Greek antiquities expert, explained that these monuments have delicate surfaces and visitors must wear shoes that won't harm them. It's not just about protecting the monuments. These sites can also be quite slippery, so wearing high heels could lead to a dangerous fall. If you forget and show up in heels, you'll likely be asked to take them off or leave and return with more appropriate footwear. Besides the no heels rule, there's not much of a dress code at these sites. Still, it's always a good idea to dress modestly and comfortably when visiting such important historical landmarks. Next, let's travel to Canada, where tree climbing is not as innocent as it sounds. 4. Climbing trees is illegal in Oshawa, Canada. Here's a law you probably didn't see coming. In 2008, the city passed a law that forbids anyone from climbing or attaching things to trees on public property. The goal of this law is to protect the health and safety of the city's trees. Urban trees provide shade, improve air quality, and add beauty to the area, so the city wants to ensure they stay in good condition. According to the law, it's not just climbing that's banned. You're also not allowed to attach anything to the trees, like signs or decorations. Violating this law can lead to a hefty fine of up to 5,000 Canadian dollars. It might seem like a strange rule, but it's all about preserving the city's green spaces and ensuring the trees remain healthy for years. While most of us wouldn't think twice about climbing a tree for fun, Oshawa's government takes tree conservation very seriously. So, if you're ever in Oshawa, admire the trees from the ground, and save yourself the trouble of a fine. Finally, let's return to Italy for another peculiar law about our four-legged friends. 5. It's illegal not to walk your dog. At least 3 times a day in Turin, Italy. Turin, Italy has a unique law about caring for your pets. City dog owners must walk their dogs at least thrice a day. If they don't, they could be fined up to €500. This law was created to ensure that dogs get enough exercise and attention, and it shows just how seriously Italy takes animal welfare. In fact, Italy has some of the strictest animal protection laws in the world. The law in Turin relies on tipsters to report owners who neglect their pets. This isn't just about keeping dogs healthy, it's also about ensuring they're treated with love and care. If you live in Turin and own a dog, skipping those walks could cost you big time. It's a good reminder that pets need regular exercise to stay happy and healthy. So, if you're a dog owner, schedule those walks. It's a small price to keep your furry friend happy, and in Turin, it's also the law. 6. No flushing the toilet. In Switzerland, particularly in some apartment buildings, flushing your toilet after 10 p.m. is illegal. This law is part of noise control regulations aimed at preserving peace and quiet during nighttime hours. While there is no specific fine outlined, violating local noise ordinances can lead to complaints from neighbours, potential legal action, and fines, depending on the municipality. Though not a federal law, this regulation is common in older apartment blocks where noise is more easily transmitted. Next, we head to Germany, where your car's fuel tank can get you in trouble. 7. Running out of fuel on the Autobahn is illegal in Germany. Germany's Autobahn is famous for its sections with no speed limits, but it has strict rules on road safety. According to Section 18 of the German Road Traffic Regulations, STVO, running out of fuel on the Autobahn is preventable. It can lead to a fine of up to €70. Additionally, stopping on the Autobahn for unavoidable reasons, such as running out of gas, may result in additional penalties. And walking along the Autobahn to reach a gas station is illegal. It can also result in fines of up to €100. Now, let's move to the UK, where harming royal swans comes with consequences. 8. It's illegal to harm a swan in the UK. In the United Kingdom, all unmarked mute swans in open waters belong to the Crown, and harming or killing one is illegal under the Wildlife and Countryside Act 1981. If you're found guilty of harming or killing a swan, you could face a fine of up to £5,000 and/or up to 6 months in prison. The protection of swans dates back to a royal decree from the 12th century, and it's still taken seriously today. Let's now head to Samoa, where forgetting a vital event could cost you. 9. It's illegal to forget your wife's birthday in Samoa. Forgetting your wife's birthday is not just a bad idea, it's against the law. Although not formally legislated, local regulations strongly discourage this forgetfulness, often leading to public shaming or community service as punishment. While there may not be a direct fine or jail time, the consequences could be severe in the social context, including potential fines decided by local authorities. It's one of the many unique ways Samoa values family and marital responsibilities. Finally, let's wrap up with a law about a beloved vegetable in Australia. 10. In Western Australia, it's illegal to possess more than 50 kilograms of potatoes. In Western Australia, the marketing of potatoes. Act 1946 makes it illegal to possess more than 50 kilograms of potatoes without permission from the Potato Marketing Corporation. The law was initially enacted to regulate the potato industry and control the supply. If caught with an excess of 50 kilograms, you could be fined up to $2,000 for the first offence and up to $5,000 for repeat offences. While this law may seem outdated, it's still technically in place and enforced by the local potato authority. Each rule serves a distinct purpose, from mandatory smiling in Milan to required dog walking in Turin.